Distant flickering, screen of scenery, the spell is bringing it all.
Hi everyone, I'm Ronan Unchained here from San Diego Comic-Con 2025. I'm here with Stephanie Filo, one of the editors of Daredevil Born Again, one of the most newest, killest shows on Disney Plus. And Stephanie, I gotta say, a lot of us were nervous going into revisiting this show, these characters that mean a lot to us.
Yeah.
And from what we had heard, because we don't live in vacuum, you guys pulled it off. I'd like to know, how long was the process of you editing? Because you edited a third of the episodes, am I correct?
Yep. Yeah. So we started I know I came on in like March of 2023. And we basically were in production up until the strikes happened. So the writer's strike and the actor's strike both happened. And we had like some semblance of the episodes. We had like maybe the first 5.5. So we were able to work a little bit into that window, but at a certain point, you kind of have to stop down and be like, we still have 3.5 more episodes to shoot. Let's make sure that we're shooting what we want it to be. And so that's where we kind of took a hiatus, and that's also where kind of the overhaul came in a little bit, because originally the show was more focused on it was kind of a similar direction, but it was more focused on like Matt as a lawyer and like the aftermath well, no, that didn't come until the overhaul.
That's right. If you know yeah.
It was the aftermath, but we didn't have you didn't see it, and so it was kind of more implied. So it was kind of a matter of
we don't talk about it. Just something happened, and we don't bring it up.
Yeah, it was kind of like mentioned throughout, but it wasn't something that was as prevalent. Which like now you can see. Obviously, that's the very first thing that happens in the series.
They left the mark.
And so I think from March 2023, went on hiatus like that summer, came back like maybe October, November, and then we worked all the way through until. Wait, that's not correct. Sorry. So March 2023, right. And then we ended somewhere late 2024.
Okay.
Like October, November 2024.
Because you had to reconstruct everything because of the new take they were going with the show.
Yeah.
And so the only thing I took out of it, from everything, from just the writing, directing, and even editing, was that you kept, for the most part, the spirit of the original 3 seasons, and yet you made it your own. You didn't just copy and paste it. You thought, we're going to stay true to it, but we're going in a different direction. And hang tight with us, because Daredevil is more than just one direction. And I like that you spend time with the new characters. And I wonder, for you, from an editing point of view, what was it like handling what takes to take with the new cast? How much time to spend? Because I think for a lot of us nowadays, we appreciate more dialogue instead of just a fight sequence. We love the fight sequences.
Yeah.
But I was wondering, how was it like you trying to time the pacing of the show with the new direction?
It was really like a collaboration, I think, between literally every department on our show. So we had our directors who came in, Benson and Moorhead, during the overhaul, and our new showrunner, Dario, came in as well during the overhaul. And we really just I know he sat down with the writers. They started kind of reworking what they thought the episodes could be, or like spitballing ideas. We would make kind of conform edits based on what these new ideas were. So it's like, we want to try this, and so you would kind of make a new version of a scene to see if that would work. Lots of playing around with like the music, lots of playing around with everything, and also just finding ways to fit. There's a lot of new material that was filmed to be a part of the original 6 as well. So just finding ways to make those match, and ways to blend the stories as well. So like the Fisk Adam storyline didn't exist at all originally.
Really?
Yeah, that's all new. And also the original Vanessa was recast as a different Vanessa originally. Right. So all of the therapy scenes are like redone with original Netflix Vanessa now. So it was really just a matter of finding the balance with those and finding ways to make those match, and collectively just trying as many things as we could to see what stuck and what didn't, and what felt like it was within the tone. Because Benson and Moorhead kind of came in and created the tone for what the show should be post-overhaul, and so we really just kind of had to retool all the other episodes to try to match that tone as much as we could as well.
Yeah, I look at it now, and to me, it was spending time with Fisk's mind as a couple, as a married man, and yet feeling that pull back to his way of life. And for a second, making me want to think, does he really want to reform? But much like Matt, they both have the beast in them that like they can't let go. And I love how you folks didn't negate how much, not only that affects them, but how it spreads. It just spreads to the rest of the guys, whether it's Vanessa, whether it's the lack of Karen's not presence there. Was there any point in time to bring back Karen sooner? Or was it always just to be like, save that for later into the season?
I mean, I think it was always the intention post-overhaul for her to come in later. That's something I would have to ask like our showrunner maybe about, but I think the intention was always for her to be there, at least in those original kind of the beginning 2 episodes, and then she goes away until the very end. I don't know.
So we had just attended your panel about the behind-the-scenes stuff, and I gotta admit, when I see physical media being put out right now, there's a lack of making of, in my opinion. Featurettes, bonus featurettes. And I was so worried that this generation would lose what I think me and all of my colleagues loved about watching these shows and these movies, was that like it wasn't just one thing to take in these stories. It was be like, we want to know how it's made. We want to know how long the process was. We want to know if there was any, if there was a good, constructive argument of like, this should have been the take. No, what does this imply? What does it imply? And I gotta tell you, I went to the panel and it was a full room. So that was like, oh, okay, people still want to know how this stuff is made, and they're willing to attend the panel and engage with the people now. I've never seen editors, costume designers, production designers get as much love as it has in recent times. We're at 2025 San Diego Comic-Con. You see that room full. How does that feel you as someone who's part of making the magic come to life?
I think it's really exciting because people behind the scenes, people don't always know what we do, and so it's really like an exciting way to talk about what our process is, but also hopefully, there were a lot of young people in the room. Like, I would love to see more people who look like me, for example, in the cutting room, or I would love to see just like a variety, because I think for a really long time it's kind of like older white men, if I'm being honest, who I would see in post rooms, and so it's really exciting to see people kind of take an interest in what the post process is, and I just hope it makes people realize that those are career paths. You don't have to be any certain thing, but like you can also follow these behind the scenes roles, and I think I love what I do, and I think everyone else in post kind of does as well. You kind of have to, so hopefully people would find that same passion. I've been saying new perspective that we're not used to seeing, keeps this stuff fresh. Like I was telling you, like beforehand, that like I look for the big talking common moments now more than fighting. That goes along with, again, not just who's in front of the camera, but behind the camera. And I'm going to ask you a nerdy question. Out of the 3 episodes you edited, which one was your favorite to edit, and which one was the one that you were like went back and forth of like, okay, this could be good, but this makes it better, but no, we like this more. So which one out of the 3 were you more engaged with? Episode 8 is my favorite. It's maybe one of my favorite episodes of TV I've ever edited. I just really love how it came together, but I also love the process of getting it to where it was, because it just felt like such a great collaboration with our directors, with our showrunner, with our producers and like studio producers, and my assistant editors. Like one of my assistant editors found that final needle drop that kind of made the episode at the very end. Working with like my post PA, even just talking through what could the music be in a gala, that was just a blast, and it was cool to have like every possible department providing just like their A game. The hardest episode was definitely episode 4.
Was that Frank's return?
Yes.
Man, my cameraman Busy, shout out to Busy Braun. He will attest to that. I was flipping out because y'all. And I don't know how much you were with marketing, just seeing the hallways and knowing that someone's in there, and we see all these guns. we know who's here, and yet we want to keep it fresh for those who haven't seen or never heard of Frank Castle or the Punisher. That one was the hardest.
It was. I mean, that scene didn't used to exist in episode 4. That scene used to be in episode 6, I want to say, and it used to be about Muse. So that's how much episode 4 changed over 2 years. I think I had like dozens and dozens of completely different versions of that episode, and that scene didn't used to be there. Eventually, like it felt like that scene belonged, and we repurposed it so it's more about like the shell casing that Matt found, but that was all additional photography. So a lot of episode 4 is like blending of additional photography with what was originally there. So I think that's why that was maybe the hardest like nut to crack.
And I'll never forget watching the original series, and I still think that like they had the Frank and Matt's argument about ideology has never been topped since. And I saw what y'all were doing with your choices, and the whole time as a fan I was just like, okay, don't cut away, don't go to another scene, just stay here, sit. And I gotta tell you, I love that scene. That scene meant a lot to me, and yeah, I really appreciate how much time you let Charlie's performance just bleed in of like, all right, of all people to give Matt Murdock a therapy session, it's freaking Frank Castle and whatnot.
Yeah.
Have you seen the reception people had with that scene, and what did you think of people's thoughts? Because again, well-beloved characters, performances who played them best, and yet we're trusting you with this continuation. How did you feel about the feedback that people got from the episode?
I was just like thrilled that people liked the episode, because I think from where it started to where it landed, I was just really glad to see that we like landed the plane, I guess, so to speak. That scene I always knew was special, but I think all of the scenes within that episode are special because they're leading up to the final moment in there where Matt and Fisk are kind of intercut and like kind of slowly succumbing to their true nature. And so I think I was just thrilled that people were excited, and also just it's the Punisher. Like I love the Punisher, so I was so excited to have that in my episode.
So I'll start wrapping things up by asking one last thing, and I don't know if you can answer it, or maybe you already have the answer to it. But season 2, are you involved with it? And if so, what else can you offer in details about season 2?
I am working on season 2, and I can't tell you anything about it, but I can tell you that you'll like it. A lot of things happen, and I think you will like it.
Okay, so if we couldn't handle first season 2 is going to be bombastic?
Yes.
Folks, you heard it here first. Thank you so much for taking the time. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of the San Diego Comic-Con, and we can't wait for season 2.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, thank you so much.